Sawadee krap, I'm Stuart J. Raj, and welcome to our, I think this is number 6 now, our Thaibites live webinar. And today's topic is one that is thanks to the Phalang Phanon Thai group. They voted on this a couple of weeks back. It's me, myself, and I, native sounding pronouns in Thai. Now, the way that this is going to work is I'll speak for about 15 to 20 minutes. I've prepared a lesson for you that you will be able to go through. Now, for those people that have registered, wow, we're way into the hundreds now of the people who have signed up and who are attending right now and listening to this webinar. So welcome, everybody. You should have, if it was done in time, received earlier today a worksheet and a quick video that I put together that would help you prepare for today. So native sounding pronouns in Thai. I got to tell you, if you have learned Thai from any of the standard Learn Thai books or any of your schools, chances are that your teacher or the books have probably taught you, if you're a guy, use the word pom. If you're a female, you would use the word dichan or chan. And it may be okay for he, she, you would have learned cow and some of those, maybe some ters thrown in there. And for you, you would have learned the word hun. Now, that's all well and good, and there's reason behind it. Those are the most generic and safest pronouns that you can use for your when referring to yourself. But you got to make a call now. There is a positive and negative side of getting into the murky world of Thai pronouns. The positive side, when you start really using these Thai pronouns properly, it takes you into a new dimension with your Thai. You'll be getting it when you start off on a more Thai footing. It'll go into the subconscious that Thais are speaking with Thais, and you'll see a whole new universe in your Thai world. The way that Thais speak to you, what gets done, and all these different power levels, they'll be set up just as a Thai would, and you get to experience life as a Thai. The downside of that is that it's extremely hierarchical. Now, I know many Thais that are working in Thailand, they're working in Thailand, but they're working in more international settings, and they actually sometimes choose to go back to the Phalang style kun and pom and kun, and then they'll say their name to try and flatten this hierarchy even amongst themselves. It's starting now with some people, but generally, if you're going to be using pronouns, you're choosing to be part of the hierarchy, and you've got to fit in with it, not according to what you think, but according to what's perceived your role should be. The other choice is you can stay as the Phalang in Thailand and plead ignorance and still use your pom, hun, khao, and be happy and go on, be understood, but you're going to be seeing a different Thailand. So in saying that, you make your choice. I personally choose the pronoun, using the Thai set of pronouns, because I love the world that it opens up to me. Now, I'm going to be sharing my screen with you. Some people haven't received a sheet there. It was a sheet and a bunch of pronouns that we had gone through. I'll be covering them all now if you hadn't received it. We're automating that flow, by the way, because the system that we're using to send all of the information out, it doesn't allow attachments. So we're automating the whole system where we get you registered in, and it will trigger these attachments to you. But anyway, let me share my screen with you. Here we go, share screen. And I will just, okay, so there's my screen. I'm going to pull up my browser so you don't get all of this feedback there. Okay, so when you're looking here, I've drawn up this Venn graph. And the way that I've done it here, and I haven't put any IPA in at the moment, but I just want to show you some general things. These are just, it's not a comprehensive list of pronouns, but this is just your average set of pronouns that you would be using. Now, let me note here, first of all, the first thing, have a look here. Unlike English, where we have I, you, and then he, she, and it, here we have first person, second person, third person, and I've done these lines here. So basically anything in this section here, and let me just highlight it. I'll put a red line around this section here coming down. These are the pronouns that can be used for I and you and he, she, or it. Basically, the context of who you're speaking to, what your role is, and what your title would be set up, or it would be just known or assumed from the power roles that you are going into that conversation with, and you would use these words, and people would know who you're talking about. You only have a handful, so I'll just go into the first person. Yes, we've got pum. I'll write the IPA in there, pum. That's with a rising tone. And then di chan or chan. Now notice for the ladies, when you're saying chan, it's written with cha ching, which is a high class, and so chan. If you do it according to the tone rules, chan, that's old school with a rising tone, chan. You can see it starts low and rises up. But in modern spoken Thai, chan is said with a high tone. Okay, so here we have pum and chan. Now, we have some higher levels here. So you'll often hear people in soap operas that depict the ancient times in Thailand. They would use these words like kapatao, and sometimes in formal settings you'll hear this here, kapatao. I'll write it in here. So kapatao with a falling tone on both, kapatao, or just ka. So this is ka or kapatao. This is a very high level saying I. You will hear some people say it in formal situations. However, now some people are having difficulties. Let me see if I can increase the size here so you can see this. See, does this work? I'll see if I can zoom. And let me scroll this over. Sorry about this. Okay, and then scroll up. Hopefully it will become bigger for you. Okay, that looks like it's a lot bigger. It should be clearer on the screen now. So kapatao, these first person pronouns though, the reality is when you're speaking in Thai, you wouldn't really, if I use pum to somebody close to me, they'd think, that's odd. Why are you using that? And same for ladies. If you use chan or di chan to somebody who's close or even friends, it just sounds weird. What you would want to do, from the first time you meet somebody, basically your relationship is set up and you set up the pronoun that you're in. Now the reality is though, even though we've got all of these words, 60% of the time, some of these won't even be used. So I'll get back to that first. So let's just go through the ones that we've got, single ones on the outside side here, and then I'll get into some of the more common ones. Okay, if you're a girl and you are old enough to be the daughter of the person you are talking to, and you'll hear children refer to themselves as parents, they will call themselves no. Okay, with a rising tone, and that means a little mouse. So I'll draw a little picture of a mouse here. There's whiskers, and so no is a little mouse. So no, if you're a female and you're talking to somebody who's old enough to probably be your parents, you would call yourself no. And often you'll see it even in relationships. If the guy is a lot older than the girl, sometimes seriously, sometimes a joke, the girl will call herself no to the man, to her partner. Okay, so no is female, young enough to be your daughter. She would call herself no, both when referring to herself and when I'm speaking to a girl who is young enough to be my daughter, I would also refer to her as no, and this would be the default actually. The next one up, and you can see I've written down here, is nong. Okay, so nong would be, and I've used called nong, which means a younger brother or sister. You would call somebody nong to their face, but if you are a nong to somebody, you wouldn't refer to yourself as nong. Okay, so this is the difference. This is why it's in this section here. Nong is only if you were calling somebody in the second person for you or he or she, you would call them nong, but you never call yourself nong, but you would call yourself P if you were older. Okay, so let me break that. We have no with a high tone. We have nong, younger brother or sister, that's with a high tone. Sorry, no with a rising tone, nong with a high tone, and P with a falling tone. Let me write that in IPA there. P, falling tone, long vowel. P. How do you set up these relationships? Well, let me just start now. Supposing I am at the supermarket, and I'm asking one of the shop assistants there, I would like to buy, I don't know, I would like to buy some toothpaste, ยาสีฟัน I would say to them, น้องครับพี่อยากจะซื้อยาสีฟันมันอยู่ล็อกไหน so let me break that down น้องครับ actually I can probably type it here and we'll break it down so I'll get in here, put some text. I'll just turn the drawing off. Okay, so here we go. And I'll turn into Thai. Oh, it's not letting me turn into Thai. I need to turn my Thai down here. Okay. น้องครับพี่อยากซื้อยาสีฟัน Okay, and when you lock now, what lock is it in? What row is it in? Let me break this down for you. I'll get my pen here. So, น้องครับ I've established น้องครับ Okay, น้องครับ. So I've called her น้อง. So obviously I'm inferring that I'm the P. And actually I could use this with a guy or a girl. So I called him or her น้องพี่อยากจะor อยากซื้อยาสีฟัน P. This is me. P. I'm obviously older than the person. I'm assuming the role of older brother. And so I call myself P. So instead of saying ผมอยากจะซื้อ or ผมอยากซื้อยาสีฟัน พี่อยากซื้อยาสีฟัน Okay, I want to buy. So พี่อยาก low tone ซื้อ that's สระwith a high tone ยาสีฟัน ยาสีฟัน so ยาสีฟัน is toothpaste. And this example will actually be it will set a good principle for you to establish a relationship to anybody. When you want to establish that power relationship and what they should call you. So น้องครับพี่อยากจะซื้อยาสีฟัน น้อง I would like to buy some toothpaste. P puts it in there. She would say, อ้าวพี่มันอยู่ฝั่งโน้นนะ P. She would call me P then because I established that I'm the P and she would probably see it anyway. If she spoke to me anyway, she'd probably call me P if it was done as a Thai because I'm like an older brother but probably not old enough to be her father. And also if old enough to be her father and you're calling somebody lung, it could be offensive too and it could have some deeper meaning in there. But you see how just in the first one sentence you've established a power role, you've used these pronouns. So here, P and Nong, and you've set that up. And then from there on, anytime you see this person, even until the day you die, they would probably refer to you then as P. And I would refer to that person as Nong. That's how the relationships go. So this is how do you set it up? If you already have existing relationships where you've used Pom and they call you something or Kun or whatever, it's going to be really weird to switch over for Thais to this P Nong or any kind of other Thai pronoun. You can try it and you can actively speak to them and ask them to, you want to start using this. It'll be weird for them and you might get used to it after a while. But when you're going into new relationships, anytime you use, say you wanted them to address you as P, just call yourself P. You call yourself what you expect them to address you as. If you're Nong, as I mentioned, you wouldn't use Nong. The general one, if you look in Glossica, and for all those people who have come and purchased Glossica, by the way, thank you very much. We had so many people come in and are enjoying it. But Glossica here uses Rao. Now, notice how Rao I've got in first person, second person, and third person. Rao, R-A-O, Rao literally means we. But Rao can be used in English. We would say it's the Queen's we. We don't like that, meaning I don't like that, but it doesn't sound too bad in Thai. It actually sounds normal. Soเราไม่ชอบ, I don't like it, even though literally it means we don't like it. เราไม่ควรทำแบบนั้นนะ. You shouldn't do that, but it's including me as well. So it actually sounds more polite. เราไม่ควรทำแบบนั้น. Rao shouldn't do that, so we shouldn't do that, but it's literally you shouldn't do that. And third person, actually this should be here. You wouldn't use Rao in the third person when you're talking. That should be up in just first or second person because it's including you. So Rao is a very safe I to use, and this is why it's chosen in Glossica. I'm just going to go through a few more here that are of note, and then I'll list some other ones off because they're obvious because of the family roles. This is an interesting one. Let me write this word here, khao. So khao khwai, sorry, khao khai, sala ao, so it's khao. If you read it like that, it's a rising tone, and it means he, she, or it. Now, in normal pronunciation, just like chan gets turned into the chan, from this rising tone to a high tone. Same with this. So khao turns into khao. And this is used, and I'll circle it here. So this is khao with a high tone is used mainly by females referring to themselves. So yes, khao would mean he, she when you're talking about it, but a female might say, เขาไม่ชอบค่ะ เขาไม่ชอบค่ะ เขาไม่ชอบ เขา doesn't like it, meaning I don't like it. And she might use that with people of her own level, or with people younger than her, or people with older, it depends. But khao is a very, it sounds very feminine, and it's a way of saying I in the first person. So เขาไม่ชอบ done with a high tone. Guys, if you say that, it's going to sound a bit effeminate. So so you probably wouldn't want to do that. And then I've put the khao, the normal khao, down here. So this is the high tone, rising tone khao. And this is used just for third person. Khao ไม่อยากทำ he or she doesn't want to do it. But if เขาจะไปตอนนี้นะ เขาจะไปตอนนี้นะ เขา is going now. That would be a girl speaking, saying that she's going now. I'm going now. Okay. A couple of others. เธอ. Now, เธอ again is learnt as a familiar, more colloquial he, she, it. So this is เธอ. But it can also be used as you. So เธอ, เธอ, and it's more familiar. And แก, แก, with a common tone there. แก is more of a generic he, she. And supposing you were talking about such and such, a close friend, แกจะมาอาทิตย์หน้านะ แกจะมาอาทิตย์หน้านะ แก is coming อาทิตย์หน้า. He or she is going to be coming next week. That sounds very normal, and you might be talking about the boss. แกแกไม่ได้เข้ามาทำงานวันนี้แกไม่ได้เข้ามา didn't come in ทำงาน to work วันนี้ today แกไม่ได้เข้ามาทำงานวันนี้นะ so the boss hasn't come in today if you were talking about the boss. So แก is like this placeholder for he, she, whatever the person is that you're speaking to. Sometimes it can be more familiar. So เขาไม่เข้ามาวันนี้ could also be used, but แก is a more common word, a more familiar word, and this is actually from Khmer. You have the same word in Khmer. It looks like this, if written in for our Khmer speakers, which I know there are a few of you in here today. Okay, there's some of the main ones. We're running out of time here. The only other one I wanted to say though is basically if you have a family role, you will say, so if you are pa or ma, and I have written in here pa ma, pa ma, which is father or mother, or lung ta, whatever the person you are, you would call yourself that. So if I had kids, I'd be speaking to my children and I'd call myself paจะไปแล้วนะ I'm going now. I wouldn't say ผมจะไปแล้ว that just sound weird to the kids. It sound weird to everybody. พ่อจะไปแล้วนะ I'm going. แม่ you'd be speaking to the mother of the children. And even if they weren't your kids, if you were speaking to the kids about her mother, you would call her แม่ You wouldn't use เขา you would use her role in relation to the person you're speaking to. Okay? I hope we'll be able to tease some of these out as we go into it. But basically, you refer to people as they are related to the person you're speaking to as well. It all gets a little complex. I'm hoping to listen to questions from many of you as you have. I'm going to stop sharing my screen there. We'll get into some more hopefully during the questions and answers. Another issue is, should you use your name? And on kun. You'll notice that the women that use the word kao, they might also refer to themselves by their own name. And so there I am back. They'll refer to themselves by their own name. So for example, say some girl's name is, I don't know, Diep. Diep ไม่อยากไปนะ She's referring to herself. She would normally say that to people, her own peers, and or somebody older than her. Right? Diep ไม่อยากไป. If you're a guy though, you just sound weird calling yourself by your own name. So mainly women, if you're in this nong category or a null category, you could use your own name when referring to yourself. Okay, I'm just looking down, seeing some of the comments there. Another point on the word kun. Kun does not mean you. Now I've got a clip out there and it's sort of got very popular a few years back when I put it there. Kun literally comes from the Sanskrit word gunna, meaning respect. So when you're calling, say, Peter, kun Peter, respected Peter, and some people might call you kun, respected one, respected one, respected one. It does not mean you, but because it's this generic addition, kun, kunแม่, they translate it in English as you, and so English speakers normally learn it. How do you say you in Thai? Oh, kun. Kun does not mean you. Kun means respected one. And this is why Thais, when you see they're used to putting, it feels weird without putting whatever prefix, pi, nong, or kun. So this is why they'll call, now in English, you would only use, say, Mr. Stuart J. Raj or Mr. Raj. You would never in English call somebody, oh, Mr. Satyawat, Mr. Stuart. You call Mr. Raj with a surname, with a last name. In Thai, you will see that the usual thing is to include the first name. So, and because it feels weird, Kun Satyawat or Kun J, they might turn it into the English version, Mr. J. But kun does not mean Mr. It does not mean you. It means respected one, and it can be used by itself. So if you want to call somebody nicely, you can say kun, and it doesn't sound. It's not like calling out, hey you. Though people do it when Thai speak English, they might mistake that and do that in English, and it sounds a bit rude. In Thai, it doesn't sound rude to say kun. It's actually very respectful. Okay, that's 25 minutes now that we've gone. I want to hand it over to you. It's such a deep topic on pronouns. You can see I have many more there. I'm sure we're going to flick back to that chart. Let me go into